What if one phone call was the only thing standing between survival and silence? And what if help was already nearby but never reached in time? In today's tech-driven world, staying connected has never been easier. No matter the hour, no matter the situation, communication is always just a tap away. But sometimes that single call decides everything. Across the country, the people who carry the heaviest weight during phone calls are emergency dispatchers. Every ring could be routine, or it could be the last voice someone ever hears. Some calls end with sirens arriving at the perfect moment. Others fade into a silence so heavy it never truly disappears. These aren't stories, myths, or dramatizations. These are real emergency calls that took a dark turn. Calls that still echo in the minds of those who answered them. No reenactments, no exaggeration, just reality and the chilling moments that followed. 16-year-old Evan Carter was a sophomore at Redwood Prep Academy in Dayton, Ohio. He was just like any other teenager, full of plans, expectations, and quiet confidence about the future. But in a sudden and unthinkable moment, everything stopped. This wasn't a high-speed crash. This wasn't reckless driving. The vehicle Evan was inside wasn't even moving. On April 12, 2019, just after 3 p.m., Evan pulled into the school parking lot for tennis practice. He drove a 2005 silver minivan, parked it, and never made it to the court. What happened next felt less like reality and more like a nightmare straight out of a survival movie, except help was close enough to touch and still unreachable. Evan needed his tennis bag, stored in the back of the van. He climbed inside, stretching past the folded seats, reaching deep into the rear. That's when everything went wrong. Without warning, the rear seat snapped backward. The force threw Evan into the cargo space, flipping him upside down. The seat locked into place, trapping his body and pressing down on his chest with crushing weight. Pinned, unable to move, struggling for air. He fought, he pushed, he tried everything his body could give. But panic doesn't make metal lighter, and strength doesn't matter when gravity wins. Still thinking clearly through fear and pain, Evan did something remarkable. Unable to move his hands, he activated voice command on his phone, and he called for help. Not once, but twice. And what he said during that first call would haunt everyone who heard it. Stories like this don't feel real until they are. Stay with this story, because what happens next proves how close help can be and still miss.
If you knew time was slipping away, what would you say first? The first emergency call came in at 3:18 p.m. Evan's voice was muffled, strained, barely breaking through the line. The dispatcher struggled to understand him, and Evan struggled to breathe. Between broken words and heavy thuds, one sentence cut through the noise. "I'm at Redwood Prep. I don't think I'm going to make it." Officers were sent immediately. They arrived at the parking lot within minutes. But distress doesn't always look obvious. 2 officers searched the area for over 10 minutes. They walked the lot, they scanned vehicles, they found nothing and moved on. While they searched, Evan was still trapped. At 3:37 p.m., the second call came through. This time, Evan sounded weaker but clearer. He described the vehicle, the color, the model, the exact place. "I'm stuck inside my silver 2005 minivan," he said. "I'm running out of time." Then his voice cracked. "If I don't make it, please tell my mom I love her." Words no teenager should ever have to say. Somehow, the vehicle description never reached the officers still nearby. At 3:40 p.m., the situation was marked resolved. No one was found, no further action was taken, and Evan was left alone, fighting the clock. But the most painful part of this story is who found him next. If you think one clear call guarantees rescue, this next part will change that belief. Keep watching. The truth gets harder from here.
What if the system meant to save you is the same one that fails you? Nearly 6 hours later, Evan's father arrived at the school lot. What he discovered would change his life forever. The city later agreed to a multi-million-dollar settlement, acknowledging failures that never should have happened. Evan's case became a turning point, forcing emergency response systems nationwide to rethink training, communication, and accountability. But some lessons come too late. Another case would soon prove that silence isn't always sudden. Sometimes it builds slowly, like a fuse burning toward disaster. Melissa Harper disappeared in December 2010. On the surface, it looked like another missing person case, but beneath it was something far darker. Melissa documented everything: journals, emails, notes, and buried in those pages were warnings, not guesses, but fear sharpened by experience. Her husband, Daniel Harper, wasn't outwardly aggressive. He was quiet, detached, cold in a way that never raised alarms until it was too late. Melissa carried the weight of the household, emotionally and financially. Friends noticed changes. She became cautious, reserved, like someone constantly watching the door. Then there was Daniel's father, a man whose fixation crossed every boundary. The behavior wasn't subtle, it was recorded and ignored. In her journal, Melissa wrote, "If something happens to me, it won't be an accident." She was planning to leave, researching escape, preparing quietly, but time ran out. And when the last emergency call came in, it wasn't asking for help anymore. It was a warning no one escaped. Some stories don't end with answers, only consequences. Stay till the next part, because this wasn't the last system that failed. What if you're calm, you do everything right, and still no one comes in time? Aging is unavoidable. Bodies slow down, bones weaken, and independence quietly fades. At 78 years old, Margaret Lewis wasn't expected to run, climb, or react fast. She lived alone in Clearwater, Florida, recovering from a recent hip surgery. Walking wasn't easy. Every step depended on her walker. Speed was never an option, even on her best days. On the night of November 26, 2019, that limitation became deadly. When smoke first filled her home, Margaret didn't panic. She didn't assume it would pass. She didn't hesitate. She picked up the phone and called 911. For nearly 20 terrifying minutes, Margaret stayed on the line. Her voice was calm, but fear sat beneath every breath. She told the dispatcher everything clearly. She was inside the house. She was alone. She couldn't walk without help. She could not escape on her own. Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. For a moment, hope crept in. "They know I'm still in here, right?" Her voice cracked just slightly. "They're coming for me, aren't they?" Fire crews arrived while Margaret was still alive. They were right outside her home. Trucks, gear, training, everything needed to save a life. And yet, No one went inside. For 8 agonizing minutes, firefighters stood outside the burning house. Margaret remained inside, conscious, breathing, waiting. Procedures were followed, checklists were reviewed, time kept moving. Fire doesn't wait, smoke doesn't care about protocol. And what investigators later discovered made this tragedy even harder to accept. Help arrived, but timing decided everything. Don't leave yet. The final part reveals how silence became permanent.
How does help arrive and still fail? After the fire, an independent investigation revealed a chain of failures. Critical information never reached the right people at the right time. Some responders were never clearly told that an immobile elderly woman was trapped inside. A system designed to relay life-saving details didn't display them correctly. Words that could have saved a life disappeared between screens. Firefighters followed a safety rule meant to protect themselves, a rule that had an exception for situations exactly like this one. That exception was never used. On the phone, Margaret was still being reassured. She was told help was there, that she wasn't alone. But reassurance doesn't stop smoke. Her breathing slowed. Her voice weakened. Then came the silence. When firefighters finally entered the house, Margaret Lewis was already gone. What came next shocked the public. Investigators discovered that a fire captain on scene had recorded a short social media clip of the burning house while Margaret was still inside. The backlash was immediate. The video became a symbol of misplaced priorities. A 200-page report exposed miscommunication, hesitation, and poor judgment. Leadership stepped down. Settlements were paid. Policies were changed. But none of that brought Margaret back. Emergency calls aren't just voices on a line. They're final chances, moments where systems are tested and sometimes fail. These weren't accidents of fate. They were breakdowns in communication, attention, and urgency. And for the people who made those calls, time didn't run out naturally. It was taken from them. Next time your phone rings, remember, for someone else, it might be the last call they ever make. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. If you believe moments like this should never be ignored, stay connected, because more untold calls still need to be heard.